Let me tell you a story about Matt, a good friend of mine who fell into a career accidentally led by his love for the material that makes hearts race, latex. We talk about his journey of self-discovery through the kink scene into identifying himself as a switch. Lock yourselves in, you do not want to miss this. Welcome back to another episode of Life with Tash. I'm Tash again, and today we have a very close friend of mine, Matt, who identifies as a switch. And if you've listened to previous episodes, you would know that a switch is someone who goes between being in a dominant role and a submissive role. Matt not only is in the BDSM in a social capacity, he also has a kink business. So he's going to provide a really interesting and unique view today. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I wanted to start kind of from the very beginning. It's a good place to start.
Always.
How did you first become interested in the kink scene?
I suppose it started when I was very young. I stumbled upon like Cleos and Cosmopolitans very young, and I was like, I wanted to be like the ultimate lover.
Oh.
And basically, unfortunately, I got very sensitized or desensitized to the vanilla world.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I don't enjoy vanilla, like passionate vanilla is amazing.
Yeah.
But I just felt as though there was something missing.
Mm-hmm.
A certain, how would you say, psychological satisfaction, I suppose.
Yeah.
As a guy, it's quite easily to be physically pleased, I suppose. So, yeah, I always felt as though there was something missing. And
Yeah.
I stumbled upon kink, and, actually the first thing I came across was like rubber, and I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. So when I was very young, the internet didn't really exist. So, it was like whatever contraband magazines or whatever I could get my hand on, or, I was a very adventurous kid, always out on my bike, and
Yeah.
just oddly enough found this old Australian fetish magazine. I don't know if anyone knows the old Rosie magazines, but anyway, I looked through that and I was like, oh, wow. And that sort of left a print on my mind all the way from my early teens to, when I became a young adult, 18, where I could actually start exploring my kink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said, you waited until you became a young adult to explore your kink,
Yep.
but you knew before that.
Yeah,
Would
I knew.
you say?
I knew that I was interested.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to explore it back then, but I knew there was an interest, and I had my first not only did I buy one pair of handcuffs, but I bought two when I was like 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and that actually, that's another story, but I ended up, that started my collection of, my vast collection of...
Do you still have those cuffs today?
I do.
Ooh.
I am very good at looking
love
after
that.
my stuff, so...
So what was your first experience, and approximately what age do you think when you had your first kink experience, whether that be socially or like even just between you and a partner?
Okay, well, I was a late bloomer. So I was already exploring kink. Like I said, I had the handcuffs, and I was already sort of playing around with them. It was a very private thing, so I kept it quite hidden. So mucking around handcuffs and, like quiet times at home, when no one's around, I sort of mucked around with them. I started going to adult stores pretty much when I was 18, I could.
Yeah.
I was quite a shy person back then, so I think it was George Street where I went to my first adult store, and I think I walked past the door at least 3 times before going in. And then when I finally went in, it was like okay, wow, there's just like
Yeah.
wall to wall of, back then VHSs and magazines and various toys, and I was like, okay, wow. And so I think it might have been the second time I went in. The fear factor was actually diminishing because my I'm often a logical person, so my logic was whoever's in there is like me,
Yeah,
or they can't judge me because I'm
'cause-
there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's like when you go to a kink social.
yeah,
You feel like everyone else is here for the same reason as me. So
100%.
you're much more in a relaxed position.
yeah. So I think I then bought my first pair of leather cuffs.
Yeah.
But my first actual physical experience with a partner
Yeah.
was my first true girlfriend when I was 19,
Yeah.
and I started off with the metal cuffs.
Yeah.
Well, not straight into it, but
Who brought it into the relationship, you or her?
me. So
Yeah.
So throughout my life, I've always because like I said, I started quite early.
Yeah.
I've always been the one with the little secret that I've got
Yeah.
to tell a vanilla partner.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of have that thing with ethical non-monogamy as well.
Yeah.
Like when you first meet someone, it's like, oh, I've got to like tell you my dirty little secret. I don't believe in monogamy. It's a kind of similar thing. Why do you call it why did you feel it was a dirty little secret? What gave you that concept? Because it must have come from somewhere.
Well, my background is quite, I wouldn't say prudish, but it's the stereotypical, straightforward, not necessarily sex is a sacred thing, but it's with one partner.
Yeah.
It's quite conventional, just normal vanilla sex, I suppose.
Yeah.
And back then, back in the I'll give my age away. Back in the 90s, fetish wasn't really big.
Yeah.
It was underground.
Yeah.
So therefore, there was a level of, I wouldn't say shame, but yeah, it was a level of,
Secrecy.
you sort of, you have to hide it.
Yeah.
You couldn't wear it on your sleeve because all my mates are vanilla.
Yeah.
They were all quite straightforward, and they just wouldn't get it, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to be judged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 19, you're with your first girlfriend, and you introduce it. And
Yep.
did she react positively to it?
She did.
Yeah.
Because I'd had years and years of Cosmo and Cleo.
Yeah.
I knew that, not everyone's at my level,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But even though my level was quite low back then, but to be patient, and no one likes to be rushed into things, especially if it's the unknown.
Yeah.
So I was just easy with it,
Yeah.
I actually originally started off with this game. It's called Goldfish. And basically what you do is you cuff your hand behind your back,
Yeah.
and you roll around trying to get the key, like a fish flapping on the floor to try and get
Yeah,
the key.
yeah.
So
Oh, that's hilarious.
so it was fun and interesting, and then sort of we just slowly progressed to it being a sexual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I might take that for one of my sessions. So what was your first experience attending a kink social?
So it would have been maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. It's a bit hazy, but I'd gone to maybe a munch.
Explain what a munch is,
So,
because our listeners probably won't.
A
all know
munch
that.
is basically a casual gathering of kink enthusiasts. It's under basically a vanilla umbrella where they can all meet. There's no pressures. Everyone feels safe because
Yeah.
it's in a vanilla setting, like maybe a restaurant or
Yeah.
a bar or something, and they can slowly become comfortable and start talking
Yeah.
and meeting. Usually munches are people that are new to the scene,
Yeah.
so they don't have a lot of contact with other
Yeah.
Kinksters. So this is a way where they can start making friends
Yeah.
and start feeling more comfortable, work their way into the scene.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny. One of my ex-partners ended up at a munch, but he didn't actually realize he was being taken to one.
Oh, classic.
It was
Yep.
hilarious. So from that first munch that you attended, was that with your partner or without?
No. So we'd since grown apart and broke up. So I was single and
Was it a way for you to then find other people?
well, at the time, like I said, I wasn't overly experienced, so I was quite satisfied with my life back then, and being quite young, we're having sex often, and I was quite satisfied, and because I'd had that traditional upbringing of boy meets girl, boy marries girl, have kids, and they get married. I was actually already in the frame of mind of settling down with children.
Yeah.
So when we broke up, I was quite devastated because, I put everything into it.
Yeah.
And, I guess you're right. I thought, well, now's an opportunity to explore who I am, find my likes, dislikes, and establish who Matt is.
Yeah.
So I started that was the start of probably maybe a 5 year long journey, roughly.
Yeah.
Of just single and clubbing and doing whatever I liked, and finding out who I was. So yeah.
And do you think that 5 years led you to become more into the BDSM scene?
100%. 100%.
Because you took that time to understand who you were.
Yeah. So so quite early on, like I said, I decided to not compromise that side of me.
Yeah.
It is a part of me. Around about that time, I realized that I was demisexual.
Yeah.
So demisexual is when you need a level of attraction or connection before the fireworks can start.
That's me.
Yeah. So so I realized that for me to be fully, I suppose, content is I needed someone that shared that passion or was open to that passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You've been going through the kink scene, in your 20s.
Yep.
I'm assuming.
Yep.
And you've been going to some socials. You're really finding out who you are.
Yep.
Now, what drew you into kind of latex and fetish fashion?
I don't know. I suppose
You started off with rubber, you said?
Yeah. Well, I actually hadn't experienced rubber yet.
Yeah.
But I'd seen it. I'd seen it like in magazines and some videos and things like that. So it was definitely an interest. It was like a goal.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, it's latex, and it looks crazy, it looks amazing. I've got to get there one day.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, I suppose when I first experienced it, it actually wasn't for me. It was in an adult store. So a bit of a background about me. Some would call me maybe a hoarder, but I like to be prepared.
Yeah.
So I hadn't got into any actual fetish stores
Yeah.
yet. I'd only gone into adult stores.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there was this quite a basic brand of latex, and it was this dress. And oddly enough, it was called a domino dress.
Yeah.
And what I know now is basically it's just a molded dress.
Yeah.
There's no seams.
Yeah.
It's molded,
Yeah.
basically dipped in latex, and they clean it up.
That was my first latex dress.
Well, there you go.
I don't put it on anymore. It's too hard to get into.
I'll sort it out for you. I'll fix it up for you. I'll make it easy.
Thanks.
But so I bought it, and I was like, oh, like it's cool, but being 6 foot plus, ex-rugby player, this little slinky dress was never for me. I actually never tried getting into it, but it was like my next girlfriend, I'm going to
put her in it.
Well, I'd like to introduce her to it. It's obviously something I like.
Yeah.
So, and my only experience back then was introducing vanilla people to kink. So, having stuff was that much easier to introduce people.
Yeah.
Be it slowly or a bit shy about it all. But yeah. So,
So when did you first really start wearing it yourself?
Oh, probably by then, early 2000.
Okay.
Maybe 2005, 4, something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm old. My memory's not as good as it used to be. But by then, internet was catching up.
Yeah.
Dial-up was dying, and the age of modems and all that sort of thing. Even mobile phones had a rudimentary level of internet, but I kept seeing this brand pop up, and it was called Reactor Rubber.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd because it had been a few years, I'd met a couple people, and the name Reactor kept coming up.
Yeah.
So, did a search and found out that it was in Newtown. So, I set upon myself to go to this place for the first time. Actually experience it. I'd sort of been sitting on the fence for too long, and I'm the kind of person that I believe in two types of people. There's someone that sits on the fence and wonders why, and another person that actually asks the question and finds out why.
Yeah.
So I hate things bothering me, or I hate not knowing. So I finally went out to Newtown, caught the train, and set off on this adventure to go to Reactor. Same deal, because it was so new. So I was a little bit frightened, a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
To me, it was almost like the ultimate fetish. I'd worked it up so
Built it
high.
up in your head,
That same deal. I think I walked past the store about 3 times backwards, and then sort of quickly darted in. I was still very shy about having certain urges and fetishes and stuff. So I went in, and the staff were beautiful, quite welcoming, and I said, all right, I'm new to latex.
Yeah.
Where do I go?
Yeah.
And basically he suggested something simple, something easy. So I think I ended up leaving with latex briefs.
Mm-hmm.
So something that you could wear under anything or only.
Yeah.
And that really got the ball rolling.
Quickly?
Latex is expensive.
Yeah.
I wasn't I wasn't made of money. I'm still not.
Yeah.
But so when I could, I'd go visit again, and briefs turned into shorts. Shorts turned into a singlet.
Yeah.
Singlet turned into a polo shirt, I suppose.
Yeah.
Then trousers.
Yeah.
And I still hadn't done a hood yet. And I was still quite shy about it all. And I finally decided, all right, I want to try a hood.
Yeah.
And I remember, having butterflies, and it was weird having I'm a cis male, so
Yeah.
I was quite inexperienced with the gay scene, and like I said, I was very used to having just rugby mates and being a
Yeah.
blokey bloke,
Yeah.
and so this guy, said, oh, sit down and let's try a few,
Yeah.
and
This is at the store?
this is at the
Yeah.
store, yeah, this is at Reactor, and I remember putting it on for the first time, and it was like just this feeling of like, oh wow, this is
Wow,
crazy.
yeah.
So yeah, that really just
Cemented it.
cemented everything. Yeah, so
And that feeling was like, wow, this is
amazing. It
is
felt
me.
so good.
Yeah.
It was yeah. I just remember that ultimate feel of naughty as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience with anything else in your life that you could liken it to?
Yeah. So I believe kink and fetish is an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
No one knows it all.
Yeah.
I don't care how long you've been in the scene for.
I say if you find a professional dominatrix that tells you that she knows it all, I say run the other direction.
Yeah, 100%. No, I totally agree with you. So it's pretty much, in my opinion, impossible to experience it all. And I found that with kink, everyone has limits.
Yeah.
Right? And anyone says they don't, they're an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's just dangerous.
Yeah.
And so basically, I find that anytime I try something outrageously new, I get that feeling. So as introduced,
it almost reminds me of like maybe a thrill seeker.
Yeah,
people like adrenaline junkies or something.
Yeah,
it's like that feeling. Oh wow, this is something new. It's like
well, that can happen. And it definitely does happen to some people.
Yeah.
So, like I said, being quite a masculine blokey bloke.
Yeah.
The whole idea of say like pegging.
Yeah.
Anal play.
Yeah.
That was always seen as a taboo and a no-go zone for a straight male.
Yeah.
So when I first started dabbling with that, it was like a revelation of, oh wow, this is not scary, it's fun, it can be quite pleasurable. And being a switch, I say switch, but I do lean towards being more of a bottom sub. Pegging was always seen as the ultimate form of domination over a guy.
Yeah.
Because of the taboo of anal play.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely a huge thrill for me. Yeah.
It's interesting, you saying like anal as the ultimate of bottoming. I even can think, to my own clients who are from that more masculine side of life, as you might say. And, they might be into things such as like CBT, which to them is not emasculating because it's like, oh, I've got like real strength that I can actually do this, or corporal punishment, or things that actually I think they see as like, oh, this actually makes me more masculine almost.
Okay.
And some of them, the anal will not be an area that they will go anywhere near.
Yeah.
I think because of that fear.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So I think even within the BDSM community and people that practice it, you kind of can almost get these two camps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's very much an individual thing. And like I said, not everyone's completely comfortable in themselves.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to own it. They're like, like you said, they're quite masculine. So there is that taboo amongst...
and a misconception.
Yeah.
And I think especially, I don't want to say Australian society and pick it out, but I do think there's even more misconception here because we have that blokey bloke rugby culture.
Yeah. We
have more of a misconception here that if you like anal or anal play, you're in the bucket of gay. Yes.
Yeah. Well, to try and you couldn't tell your mates at the football that you're into that.
Yeah.
And like you were saying about those guys that don't want to try it, I was being 6 foot plus and
Yeah.
you know an ex-footy player, I felt it was how would you say? I really enjoyed the fact that someone that was 5'5" or 5'7", 30 kilos, 40
Yeah.
kilos lighter than me could take charge and dominate me, sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
like, in reality, that can't happen. Like
Yeah.
it's physically anyway.
Yeah.
And that whole letting go
Yeah.
and becoming vulnerable and letting someone, I won't say do whatever they want,
No.
because obviously you have to talk
Yeah,
about things
yeah.
before you do things. But just letting go and just see where this journey takes you.
Yeah.
Is, yeah.
Yeah. What got you from dressing up in latex for yourself
Yep.
or for your own pleasure into going into it as a business?
Okay.
And what kind of led you to that?
Okay. So, as established, I'd accumulated a fair bit of latex. Back then, I didn't have the best knowledge on looking after stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was latex is a very, I won't say fragile, but it's not as strong as leather. It's not as forgiving as leather.
You've mended enough of my pieces to know
Absolutely.
that.
I was about to say fingernails and whatnot can go right through it. So fast forward, to maybe around about 2009, 10. I got into a pretty full-on relationship, and we'd accumulated. So she was a swinger.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much a kinkster, but she sort of embraced that side. Like I said, I was always slow with introducing people to things,
Yeah.
and I let them evolve to their speed and whatnot. And she ended up getting a bit of latex anyway. So fast forward again into maybe 2016, I suppose. Long story short, we'd poorly stored our latex. Our place gets quite hot upstairs, and a lot of the rubber had dried out and cracked,
Mm-hmm.
or it goes the other way. It devulcanizes and goes gummy. And some of these, and latex is expensive.
Yeah.
So we had to throw it out. It was
Yeah.
useless. Couldn't do anything with it. So, it's quite heartbreaking. And like some things are your favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
that you feel great in.
Yeah.
You look great in.
Yeah. As you said, one, they were expensive to buy. Two, you don't find them in every second store.
No,
So
and especially now.
3, you've got to wait 6 to 8 weeks lead time because
100%.
most brands will custom make it.
Yeah, and back then, now there aren't many stores.
Yeah.
I think Sydney CBD sort of thing. We're limited to 2 shops.
Yeah.
Whereas back then you had Rubber Baron, Rubber Emporium. You had a lot of crafters actually in the community. Like I said, probably in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, internet and eBay or
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
online stores, people who were like me
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
they don't have to take the plunge and walk into a store.
Yeah.
They can just order
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
But so basically I started my business. So my current partner, when we met, she had a broken dress, latex dress.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a DIY guy.
Yeah.
I'd accumulated a tiny bit of experience fixing my own latex.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to me, okay, I broke my dress. And I'm quite gung-ho. And I'm like, yeah, I can fix that.
Yeah.
So she came over and, I'm a little bit pedantic. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
Very much so.
So, basically, I fixed her dress, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is wow, this is crazy." You know, like if you couldn't fix it, I was gonna have to throw it out.
Yeah.
You know, and because I'm a rubberist,
Yeah.
I'm quite passionate about latex. So the idea of broken dresses, broken trousers, broken anything, just dead on the bottom of a closet is a bit disheartening to me. So, well, actually, to the point where when I fix things, sometimes I'm not making money.
Yeah.
Because I'm spending 5-6 hours to fix it, and the reality of it is, you know, a new cat set might be $600. No one wants to pay $500 to fix it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's to me, it's not logical.
Yeah.
So so she goes to me, well, you should start a business. You're good at it.
Yeah.
So slowly, word of mouth got out that I fix things. And
Rubber Rescue.
Rubber Rescue.
Perfect name.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, you were introduced to me was through our client, and I had a broken. My favorite bodysuit was the first thing, I think.
You had a broken strap. Yeah.
And I was literally gonna be like, it had broken for a while, but I was like putting off throwing it out because I'm like, I really like this.
Well,
I couldn't buy it again. I went onto the website, they'd sold out. I was like, oh, and then I just happened to be talking to one of my clients, and she's like, you should get in contact with Matt with Rubber Rescue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's really disheartening. I think it's hard to explain to people who aren't into latex, but it is really disheartening when it breaks.
Well. So latex, in my opinion, is an interesting fetish because you got people that are like into rubber, PVC, leather, but latex has got this. It's got a smell. Yeah. And smell can invoke memories. Yeah. Smell. So when you invoke memories, you can get aroused, or it turns you on. You get attached to it because usually latex is something that comes out of the drawer or closet or whatever for something sexual or kink related, like something fun. Yeah, yeah. So you don't want to let it go if it breaks because it's like, oh, I can't do that activity anymore, sort of thing. It's hard to send it back overseas because it takes a long time. So I've got a few people that they hang on to their broken latex and they're like, oh, you fix it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Did you just learn the skills on your own to how to fix it, or did you engage the help of someone who was already in the craft?
I taught myself. Yeah. The odd, YouTube videos. Yeah. If I had a question, I'd sort of, find the answer online. But self-taught. Because
now you've taken the leap into now making latex clothing from scratch because you've made pieces for me. Yeah. Was that just a natural progression, or was that something you set out to do from the beginning?
No. Well, I've always liked the idea of making stuff for myself. But, basically, I'd have clients that I'd fix things for, and they'd go, oh, can you make this? Or can you make that? And I'm like, yeah, if you want me to, So, that's how it started, making things. So the way I differ to buying from the store is it's bespoke. You know, I take measurements before I sort of send it off. Yeah. Ask them to come back and do a final fitting. Yeah. So it takes all that negative experience away from purchasing latex. Yeah. I love seeing a happy, a happy customer. Yeah. So.
And now you've gone into creating BDSM furniture.
Yes.
Again, natural progression,
So as I mentioned,
because I want to steal your spanking bench.
Yeah. So I've always been crafty. Yeah. I'm often seeing things that's like, yeah, I can make that.
Yeah.
You know, I can do that. It's like, I remember getting the motor out of an old car at the wrecker. So the motor for the window wipers.
Is this for a sex machine?
Yes. I remember getting that, but you know, I'm not professionally trained,
Yeah.
but I've got enough hands-on experience to make things work.
Yeah.
You know, and so ended up with a window winder sex machine. So
Fucking machine.
yeah.
Yeah. My partner's a carpenter, as you know, and you've seen my ball table.
Yes.
Because I was looking at one online, and my partner just happened to look over my shoulder. So this is like a little footstool table that opens up, and you put like there's a little hole in the middle. Just trying to explain it. You open up, you put their balls in, and you close it, and then you can do like ball torture to it.
Yeah.
And I was gonna buy one, and he's like, "That's so easy. I can make that."
Yeah.
So he made it for me.
So
I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. So one of my kinks is heavy restraint.
Yeah.
You know, to be helpless and vulnerable. Like I said, being nearly 100 kilos, being dominated by, you know, someone half my size is quite exciting. So because I've lived it personally, I look at devices or furniture and I think, okay, well, how can I make it more restrictive to the bottom, the sub? So the spanking bench that you've got your eye on.
It's in my dungeon now.
Well,
all the restraint points.
Yeah. So a standard one will maybe have 4 to 8.
Yeah.
Your one's got 12.
Yeah.
You know, plus you know, a leather strap over the top.
Yeah.
So I approach things from experience and from what I think most people would like.
Yeah. And I think that is going to be something that is unique coming from the kink industry and building it. Because even if you go off my CBT table, there's no anchor points.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't thought of. So I use different anchor points to different areas of my room.
Yeah.
Although maybe I'll just get you to put some anchor points on it now.
I can do this.
Because you know how to use it. Why someone just building it from maybe a vanilla perspective or I don't know, maybe a carpenter who's working for a kink company, I don't know, but not in it, they're not going to think of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really interesting perspective that you would bring to it.
Yeah. And well, so I'm of this opinion. So like I said, I'm a switch.
Yeah.
I'm a sensualist.
Yeah.
I'm into, you know, more of a nurturing, closer kind of feeling. From what you're saying, like, I believe a good dom has subbed before.
Yeah.
You know, so they know what their sub's going through. So that's
the dom that trained me. She's like, "You're gonna try everything that you're doing on the other person." And I told this story before with her. She chased me around my studio with a cattle prod.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, obviously, there's some things I can't try just to do with genitalia regions, but yeah, you're right. Has your involvement in the kink community changed from when you started, and in what way?
No. So I've always sort of just been, you know, like as in like I've been around for over 20 years now. So I'm quite a private person. So generally the kink scene is just a social thing for me.
Okay.
So just going out, you know, dancing, talking, whatever.
Yeah.
So that aspect hasn't changed. Okay, yeah, people know me as someone that can fix things, but other than that, no. I think, you know, I'm not, you know, some sort of a big wig where, you know, like people have to come past me to sort of. No.
Do you think the kink scene spawns a bit of drama?
It can.
Yeah.
Like I said, so I sort of took a 5-year hiatus. So
Yeah.
a lot of things I sort of didn't hear about.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get into politics either.
Yeah.
I sort of mind my own business. I only worry about those who are close to me.
Yeah.
Because that affects my life, because
Yeah.
they're in my life.
Yeah.
So, I'm not into gossip or anything like
Yeah.
that. So, the scene in Sydney is quite small.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of exes
Yeah.
passing each other. And so there sometimes can be issues
Yeah.
because the kink scene is no different to... I liken it to like Melrose Place.
Yeah.
Like... in the private kink scene, so as in like partners,
Yeah.
you're gonna have your standard life problems,
Yeah.
be it infidelity, whatever,
Yeah.
like. So, so the scene is small.
Yeah.
So
There's going to be some.
enemies cross over,
Yeah.
and yeah.
But I think as you said, with any scene, I think you can choose if you want to get into the drama of it.
True. I believe
And
that.
so, and you can be, I know even like myself, if I look at, I've said, my main kink group play, I organize things myself as well. And even with that scene, again, it's small in Sydney.
Yep.
And there is kind of the scene that there is drama and stuff, but I've never gone into that. I've kept myself not on the periphery, but in my little world of it.
Yeah.
And what I'm comfortable with, because
Yep.
I didn't want to get involved with that side of it.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think with the kink scene is probably similar.
Yeah.
You can kind of choose if
it's
you
a
want to
personal
delve
choice.
into the
It's a
drama
personal
of
choice,
it,
yeah.
or kind of
Yeah.
keep your own.
Yeah.
As a way to say it. What's something that you enjoy most now from being more experienced in the kink scene? Do you like being able to show people this part of life? Is that something that gives you more enjoyment now because you have more experience in the kink scene?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, obviously because I'm wearing a hood. So
Yeah.
So fetish and the kink scene is the private part of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm amassing a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Because I've been around for so long, and it's nice for them to get to know the real me.
Yeah.
The unfiltered me, I suppose.
Yeah.
I can relax,
Yeah.
like as you said before, there's no judgment, so I can like what I like and be who I am.
Yeah.
They know me. They still like me, so I probably feel the most comfortable I have in my whole life.
Yeah. Can I ask, why do you keep it private?
So I'm from quite, I wouldn't say prudish, but I'm just from a straight vanilla family.
Okay, so it's your background that you explained before. That's the reason.
Yeah, and they just, look, they might surprise me and be totally cool with it, but it's something that I don't have to tell them.
Yeah.
So why stir the pot,
Yeah.
because I don't need to.
Yeah. And that's fair. And I think there are still misconceptions we said before
100%.
about the kink scene. So I can see why it is a challenge for some people, even if you're very established in it, to want to completely come out to everyone about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, that has been a really eye-opening episode, and I really loved your take on getting into the business side of kink, and coming from someone who started off as something just that they did for them.
Yep.
So thank you. I know we're going to get you back for another episode. So to all the listeners out there, I'm sure you've learned heaps once again, and as always, stay kinky.